vPC is a very powerful tool to use in your data center environment. In order to use this tool correctly, you need to understand what happens in different failure scenarios. For instance, if the peer keep alive fails, there is no impact to the environment. However, the peer keep alive is needed to bring the system up. There's also no impact to the environment if you were to have a supervisor fail, or if you're doing an in-service software upgrade, which is a hitless software upgrade. When a vPC channel member fails, traffic is sent over the other vPC member. When a vPC channel member fails, traffic is rehashed over an existing member. When half of the vPC channel fails, traffic is rehashed or rerouted to the other vPC peer. In some cases, the traffic may have to traverse the vPC peer link in order to get to other vPC connected devices, as you can see in the top drawing with the red traffic flow. When the vPC primary switch fails, traffic is rehashed and rerouted to the vPC secondary switch, as you can see in the lower right-hand corner. The vPC peer switch feature can be implemented in this scenario to speed up and even eliminate spanning tree convergence. The vPC peer switch feature allows both vPC peers to send out spanning tree information. When a vPC secondary switch fails, traffic is rehashed and rerouted to the vPC primary switch. So you might be asking yourself, what happens if the vPC peer link fails? If the vPC peer link fails, the secondary vPC peer suspends all of its VPCs and shuts down the SVIs for VPC VLANs. Single home devices will most likely be isolated because they can no longer reach the SVIs or the VLANs on that device. A dual active situation does not occur if the peer keep alive link fails after the vPC peer link failure. If the vPC peer keep alive link fails first and the vPC peer link fails later, or both fail together, both VPC peers become active. In this case, we would need to bring up both the VPC peer link and the VPC keep alive to recover from a dual active state. After recovery, the configured VPC secondary peer will remain as the operational primary. The VPC does not preempt, which means fail back to the original primary, since this change can be very disruptive. As you can see, it is a best practice recommendation that once you start using vPC on Nexus devices, that every host is dually connected to both switches. This guards us from certain hosts being isolated. It's also recommended that if you're using vPC at the access layer, that all of your hosts be dual connected as well. If you have hosts that cannot be dual connected to the network, sometimes it's better to put a switch in front of those hosts and dual connect the switch to the VPC pair. Please make sure you take some time to review the VPC roles and the different failure scenarios and completely understand how VPC works before implementing it in your environment. You also need to become very familiar with these technologies for the data center CCNA tests. Please join me for the next lesson, Understanding Virtual Routing and Forwarding.